You know that feeling, right? You buy an insurance policy for peace of mind, but there's this little voice in the back of your head that whispers, yeah, but will they actually pay out if I need them to? Well, you're definitely not alone. That feeling, that's the heart of a huge trust gap in the insurance world. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on.
This quote from Mahavir Chopra just hits the nail on the head. It's not a small suspicion anymore. For a lot of people, it feels like the whole system is kind of designed to find reasons to say no. And that perception, well, it's creating this massive trust deficit between you, the person paying for protection, and the companies that promise it.
So yeah, how did we even get here? How does a promise of security so often feel like it's been broken, usually right at the moment you need it the most?
I mean, this is the central question, isn't it? You do your part, you pay your premiums on time, you buy the policy specifically to avoid stress. But then, when you actually have to make a claim, it feels like you're suiting up for a fight. Why is that?
And look, this isn't just in your head. The data actually backs this up. The Council for Insurance Ombudsman found that in over half, more than 50% of the complaints they resolve, the decision goes in favor of you, the customer. That tells you that unfair claim rejections are a real systemic problem.
Okay, so the root of this problem really lies in a huge conflict in how the industry works. It's like a tale of two completely different companies, one that sells you the policy and another one that handles your claim.
And here's what that looks like in action. When they're selling to you, everything is super easy, right? Frictionless, minimal questions, simple signups. Their whole goal is just to get you in the door. But the second you file a claim, it's like a switch flips. Suddenly, the goal isn't accessibility, it's cost control. You go from self-declarations to facing an in-depth investigation, post-claim scrutiny, even accusations of fraud. It's that whiplash that just completely shatters trust.
So, how do insurers actually justify these denials? Well, more often than not, it all comes down to the fine print. Let's take a look at how some cleverly worded clauses and very specific definitions in the policy are used to reject claims that, on the surface, seem perfectly valid.
To really get this, let's look at a real-world example. Meet Deep Shah. He and his family were all set for a big trip to Vietnam, and they had their travel insurance ready to go. What happened to them is basically a masterclass in how fine print can be used.
So get this, their flight gets postponed by a massive 72 hours, 3 full days. To save their vacation, they do what any of us would do. They book new tickets. They then file a claim for a flight delay, thinking, this is exactly what insurance is for. And what happens? The claim gets flat out rejected.
And here's the absolutely wild justification. The insurer argued that because the new flight, the one leaving 3 days later, took off only 5 minutes behind its new schedule, it wasn't technically a delay according to their policy's definition. A 72-hour postponement was somehow twisted into a 5-minute delay. It's just a perfect example of the fine print being weaponized.
And don't for a second think this is just a travel insurance thing. Oh no, this pattern pops up everywhere. In health insurance, a claim might get denied because of an undisclosed habit. But the thing is, the law says the insurer has to medically prove that habit directly caused the problem. Or with art insurance, a claim can get tossed just because a painting wasn't professionally packed, even if the packing had absolutely nothing to do with how it got damaged. It's a widespread playbook.
Okay, so that's the problem. But what can you actually do if you're the one facing an unfair rejection? The good news is you're not powerless. There is a clear step-by-step path to challenge the decision. Let's walk through it. Think of it as a roadmap. Your first stop is the insurance company's own grievance officer. If you don't get anywhere with them, your next step is the IRDAI's online portal called IGMS. And finally, you can take your case to the insurance ombudsman. And remember, this is a really powerful and free option. As we saw earlier, you've got a better than 50-50 shot of winning your case there.
But you know what's even better than winning a fight is avoiding one altogether. So this is your playbook for becoming an empowered policyholder, for turning the tables so you don't end up in this situation in the first place.
This all starts before you even click buy. Don't just sort by the lowest price. First thing you should do? Go straight to the exclusions section. That's what they won't cover. Then look for the definitions of key terms, like delay, to see how they spin them. And a simple but crucial tip, save the helpline numbers in your phone before you ever need them.
This quote from an insurance consultant really puts it into perspective. While, yeah, some rejections are just unfair, a lot of claims fail simply because the policyholder wasn't ready. Being prepared is honestly your best defense.
Now, when it's actually time to file a claim, you need to think like a detective building a case. Your documents? That's your evidence. Never ever throw away boarding passes, medical reports, or receipts. Tell the insurer what happened immediately, usually within 24 hours, and get everything in writing. A claim with a mountain of proof is a very, very hard claim to deny.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Is your policy a safety net you can actually count on, or is it a complicated rulebook full of traps you haven't even read yet? The power to turn that rulebook into a real safety net, well, that comes down to being prepared, being proactive, and knowing your rights.